Sheriff Kevin McMahill.
You can see some troubling aspects in his personal life as well.
To counter conspiracy theories saying otherwise, a sheriff released evidence showing it was Livelsberger in the Cybertruck and that he was by himself. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Authorities say there's no connection between that explosion and the New Year's terror attack in New Orleans. It left 14 dead. ABC's Christian Cordero in New Orleans has the latest on the ongoing probe.
Investigators say that the unexploded IEDs recovered from 2 coolers in the French Quarter were made with a very rare explosive compound that also contained a remote detonation capability. The FBI now warning every law enforcement agency in the country of potential copycat attacks.
President Biden will visit New Orleans Monday to see the scene. He's set to deliver the eulogy Thursday at President Jimmy Carter's funeral in Washington, D.C. ABC's Faith Abube in Carter's hometown of Plains, Georgia, says memorial services begin today.
It's a bittersweet day for this community, which has loved Jimmy Carter for an entire century, and they are ready to celebrate his legacy and honor him. The Carter family motorcade arrives here, and we expect to see the Secret Service, members who have protected Carter for decades, carry his remains to the hearse.
President-elect Donald Trump ordered to appear in court in New York next week in person or virtually for sentencing in his criminal hush money case. The judge will sentence him to unconditional discharge.
Joe Montana here. In my football days, I knew the importance of a strong defense. Now I'm sharing how you can help defend your health against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease. Are you 50 or older like me? The CDC now recommends vaccination against pneumococcal disease. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at increased risk and over 6 times greater risk of hospitalization with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50. Schedule your appointment today at vaxassist.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
This is Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. Over the past 45 years, we have named millions of stars for celebrities, dignitaries, and individuals worldwide. For $59 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, you can name a star and give the ultimate Christmas gift. The star name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Visit starregistry.com or call 800-282-3333 to give the brightest gift. That's 800-282-3333.
Mostly sunny but bitterly cold for today with highs only around 1 below and winds will be out of the northwest at about 5 to 10. Overnight tonight will drop down to about 15 below with wind chills as close to 25 to 30 below. And Sunday not much better, partly cloudy with highs around 0 and nighttime lows around 10 below. We'll stay in the single digits through the middle of next week with a chance of snow on Thursday. From the WDAY Skywatch Weather Center, I'm
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
To Ham's Beer. Welcome to the Hockey Guys on this very refreshing Saturday morning from the studios here at Flag Studios in WDAY here in South Fargo. Just a little chilly this morning, Wills.
Yeah, there's no polar bear swimming for me today, man. Holy gosh, it's cold. I
noticed you actually had full shoes on today instead of wearing the Crocs that you normally have on.
Yeah, I had to put socks on, and I was going to put a toque on too, like Addison here, but I left it at home.
So Valley Imports, our presenting sponsor. Thank you. The Hockey You Guys brought to you by Valley Imports and Valley Pre-Owned, your best price leader in the region. Find your next vehicle at valleyimports.com. So, Addison, I saw the green light flashing. Did you have somebody live and ready for us here? 701-293-9000 that wanted to participate or no?
No, I wouldn't say so, no. No, I'm kidding. We got Phil on the line.
Oh, Dr. Phil Johnson reporting in from Jeff Bradle's, I think is he at Jeff's living in the basement now, Wills?
No, I don't think so. I think he's holding this little cuddly little grandchild son at him and feeding and singing little lullabies to him.
And a little shout out to my daughter Anna and her husband Justin. They had Jude Royce Geller.
I like that. Hey, Doc.
January 1st, Essentia Hospital just across the road was the first newborn at Essentia here in Fargo. So congrats to them.
Yeah, for sure.
Doc, what are you up to?
Not a whole lot this Saturday morning. I'm getting ready for a little snowstorm out here in Montana.
Oh, you're out west.
Jeff was wrong.
Yeah, I am.
Did you want to give Wills a little shout out to? Give me a second here. We'll do a little quiz with you this morning, Doc. We'll go Michigan State, Boston College, University of Wisconsin, St. Cloud State University, Boston College, University of Minnesota, Boston University, Boston College, Erie Otters, University of Minnesota, Boston College, Notre Dame, Providence, Saginaw Spirit OHL, Duluth, St. Cloud, Boston, University, Denver, Western Mich, OHL, Colts, Boston College, Boston U, and University of Minnesota. Which team is that in the World Juniors that I just read the roster to you?
That would be the United States of America.
Can you share with Mr. Wilson how many college players are on the Canadian team that's now become fans of the college hockey system?
I think there's one, isn't there?
You guys rehearsed this before, you buggers.
No.
Yeah, you did. But you were right, Phil. There's only one.
Oh, no, Dino. I look at the rosters a lot. I still follow these guys pretty close because, if we're doing it for 20 years, it's still really kind of a party at this time of year. So, no, I check the rosters. Absolutely. And I really think I have a feeling there's going to be a major shakeup up north. I mean, Hockey Canada is just in turmoil, and that happened a couple of years ago, and they've never really recovered. I think they need to understand that, just the CHL is not the premier league in the world anymore. I mean, you've got the NCAA.
I think it should be based out of Thunder Bay. I think Dean Wilson should take it over, put the program together, and just emulate what they're doing out of Ann Arbor, Michigan, Wilson.
I'm not going to – I have my opinions. I've done a little homework on this because I thought it would be a hot topic, and I can't wait for our guest to come on, Dean Stork from Jamestown's men's coach there. Get him on. He's a fellow Canadian. He'll back me up a little bit. But I agree with you, Phil. Man, there's a lot of stuff going out there, and they're bagging on it hard. Even Don Cherry went off the deep end, which is not uncommon for him, right? But he said It's an embarrassment, and they had just things that just didn't line up or make sense. And it's simple stuff, and it's easy from the cheap seats, right? I mean, it's easy to say your playing guys are taking 1 billion penalties, and they're not waking up, or, even at that level, you got a little timeout don't hurt you if you're going to be stupid on the ice, right?
But, there's some interesting parallels. When you take a look, and I'll go back. If you go back and take a look at a program that did okay in 1980, the coach came in, said, I'm in charge. Your committee can go to hell. And he walked in, and on the second day, he said, this is my roster, and he went with those guys, and he went and did what he had to do. They weren't the best players, but it was the players he wanted. So my question is, who did coach that Canadian team? They put a guy on the bench, but who was trying to coach it, Dean?
Yeah, I don't know. Phil, we cut your thoughts off. Go ahead, what you were going to say.
Well, it sounds like it was a coach by committee, to be honest with you, and I don't really know. I mean, the one assistant coach was at Lazar. He seemed to be pretty prominent in the media, so I wonder if he was kind of the big voice. But I think it gets down to, you can, and people were knocking the national team development program for many years. Like, what are you doing? That's ridiculous. That's stupid. You guys aren't anything. You aren't any good. Well, I think they've been validated over the last 10 years, and just look at the response that the United States has made in international play. The one thing I saw, because I watched the games pretty closely, the Canadian kids were still playing CHL rules.
Yes.
They were trying to be rough. They were trying to be tumble. They were trying to take the body a lot, and they were going after the cheap stuff, and they were reacting instead of making the hits. You can't do that in international play. And the coaches, that's on the coaches. Those guys have to implement the program that, hey, you can't check like that in the international game. They're going to call you on it, and you're going to put us down. And look what happened. I mean, Canada just put themselves in a deep hole multiple times because they had the lack of discipline. And that's from the coaching staff. That's not the players. That's the coaches need to express that. Like, hey, you can't do that stuff here, and here's what you need to do. And if you can't do it, and they were doing that in the evaluation camp, then that's on them. So
for a few of us in the listening audience, what you're explaining is that's like the Thistles playing the World Lakers back in the old senior league, right? Hey, Wills, remember watching those games where when you had the rough and tumble team, if you had a fast team that could skate, the game was interesting and the battles were different.
Well, you know, when you lose, it's easy to point fingers. And I always say this, I'm not in that locker room. I'm the outside looking in. I'm a spectator. I can give my, perceptions, maybe reality. I don't know. So I'm outside looking in. Different things like they're bagging that you cancel practice. Well, I don't know if guys are injured, tired. There could be reasons to canceling that. And you're right, Phil. A good athlete. We used to say it all the time, and I always tell my little baby level of high school, I go, we got so-and-so and so-and-so. They'll officiate this game like it's ballet. So no hitting. And then if you're playing a great team, and they talk about it at UND, go if you're playing the Gophers, for instance, and their power play is above 30%, you can't take a penalty because they'll score on you. So those are things, but that's about discipline, right? And that goes from the top down. It is about your head coach. You have to your team has to be disciplined. I'll throw one more quick thing, and Eddie always says that, and you can't lose the locker room. I think of Maple Leafs last year. You lose the locker room, you're doomed because they have to respect you. And I always say when I order code red, I expect it done.
So yeah, lots of interesting things will come back. I think the game of college hockey, U.S. college hockey, is in a place that's going to cause the rest of the country and the world now to keep up on the player development, because that's what this is about, right? All of this is about player development. These kids will end up playing at a higher level, and it's just been an interesting one to kind of sit back but again, come back. A pretty dominant college hockey collection. And the teams that have their players playing are going through trying to maintain their pairwise rankings. When you're down some players, you take a look at a few of these teams that are missing players. How do they get through this week? So we have some things coming back on the Hockey Guys. And this intermission is brought to us and sponsored by Ham's Beer. Ham's is still brewed in that true family tradition, using the purest water and the choicest barley, grain, and hops. So, Wills, we'll be back in the next segment. We'll continue this conversation, and then we have Dean Stork from Jamestown University, who will be on with us in our third period. So we'll be back here on the Hockey Guys. Obviously, you can tell Jeff's not around this week. Addison didn't get bumped with a bunch of new intro songs. So, Addison, good for you. But hey, Jeff, I know you're listening out there. Stay well, my friend. So
I don't mind ZZ Top. At my daughter's wedding, that was the wedding dance my daughter and I sang to. We got guitars, fake beards, and hats, and we did this song on ZZ Top.
Fake beers. I don't believe that.
Man, what the scores last night were very interesting. I'll kind of roll in it for you, Eddie, but I was watching
Miami. Maine
and Denver, and 20 seconds left in the game. Denver pulled the rabbit out of the hat and scored.
And again, remember, they're missing their head coach as he's coaching today again for that U.S. World Junior team.
In Miami, where are they ranked in the top 10 in the nation?
So Maine number 7 now, and Denver 5. So a little bit of things moving around a little bit. The other ones, games that were on yesterday, which were interesting. I don't know what's going on at Duluth, but Duluth is at Alaska and ranked 36-37, and that was a 2-2 game on the final box. For those of us that are in the NCHC, Western Michigan, watch out.
Yeah, they've been on fire too, and
4-1 last night.
Ohio State, Michigan.
How about Augustana, though?
That was my number one, Phil. That was my number one. Caught me last night. Beating Colorado 5-1.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any CC players on the World Junior team. So, yeah, I don't know if they were just post-holiday blues there with the Tigers or what. But 5-1 is a pretty significant score. So we'll have to see how they rebound tonight. Yeah, and then Ohio State beating Michigan. I watched that game a little bit. But remember that Alaska team is the team that took the Gophers right to the wall, and they beat them in overtime, actually.
And again, for those that know college hockey, Western Michigan is without their goaltender.
Right.
So you've got Selinsky playing World Juniors. So again, when I saw that game, you're kind of thinking, okay, that could be interesting. But obviously, they had no problem in their game last night with Alaska Anchorage.
And
they're such a good.
Yeah, go ahead.
It'll be a good series in a couple of weeks up in Grand Forks.
Yeah. How about Bemidji? Did they play Manitoba last night?
Bemidji actually last night was yes, Manitoba, but that was an exhibition, and there's absolutely nothing on my side. Doesn't
well, it's
show
5-0 Bemidji final. So they tagged them pretty good. I'm just thinking tonight, UND has Manitoba, and I haven't heard much about Manitoba. I know I always talk about my hometown, Lakehead University, which they've gotten a lot stronger over the years. It's kind of shifted a little bit from the junior scene now to Lakehead University, so they've done really well.
And then again, Arizona State hosting their home tournament, so they started out with a 7-3 win over Robert Morris. And the other game that I kind of was maybe, Dean, we've talked a little bit. We know the Cornell coach. So Cornell sitting at 19 in the pairwise in the rankings, but they didn't have a problem. UMass obviously not up to its normal level, so they were 19-25 as they come out of that last evening on the ranking side of it. So any surprises, Doc, that you think will happen in the second half as we take a look at straight up just college hockey? What do you think is going to happen here as we get out of this so-called holiday tournament World Junior run and then head into the second half?
I think I would really watch closely North Dakota. I mean, they started to roll here at the end before the holiday break. We'll see how they play tonight, but I think they're a team, if they can get some of those kids back that are injured, I think they're a team that you just don't want to play at this time of year. So I'm a little intrigued about Colorado College. What happened? Is that just a one-off thing? We'll see how they respond maybe again tonight. But, CC is that team that I think is really the dark horse, and you can't overlook them anymore. They are the real deal. So, yeah, those would be the two teams I think I would be most concerned about. I think Western Michigan is slowly advancing themselves to the cream of the crop from the NCHC. Denver is, I don't know what's happening at Denver. Obviously they've got a couple kids on the World Junior team, and their head coach is the World Junior coach as well. But
they beat Maine.
They've had a little bit of a slide. But they've had a little bit of a slide before that. I watched that Nevada Las Vegas game.
I thought we were going to not get in trouble with all the people that said don't call out the obvious. But go ahead, Doc.
Yeah, I when I watched it, the goaltender for Denver just, I don't know, he had a really bad night actually. But Las Vegas was the real deal. They were up 3-0 real quickly, and they've got some snipers there. So, yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting second half, as it usually is. But I think North Dakota will be right in the mix. It'll be fun to watch.
I watched last night Penn State and Notre Dame. It was just fun. It's an outdoor game, right? And just a fun game to watch, and up and down, and a little physical. Some good bumps there that they were sitting people down a little bit, which I like to see. I'm a 70s guy. But it was just a fun game. But otherwise, just thinking, we got to get Notre Dame's coach on. It's his last year.
Yeah, we're going to need to get that one in our wheelhouse. Tonight, this may be the game to watch. Cornell, Arizona State, playing in that Arizona State holiday tournament. So that will be an interesting one to watch because, obviously, again, Cornell and Arizona State, both programs that are trying to get themselves into that 16 at the end of the year. So that game will have some importance across division play. So, Wilson, anything else exciting that you see happening as we take a look at college hockey?
I think I'm going to piggyback up what Dr. Phil said is just UND, they got banged up pretty hard early, some key players. Get those guys back healthy. I agree they're going to be a dangerous team the second half. You got a lot of teams. Augie's kind of hot, and they'd be a scary team to bump into too. They've been beating some big teams. Gophers are the Gophers. We kind of lay low on them, but they're a good squad, and they're going to be tough. Sandy's team at Duluth, they seem like they're rebounding a little better. I know they had a few guys banged up too.
I'm going to throw out the other game tonight to watch, and it kind of rolls in. If anybody would ask myself, obviously Minnesota has everything that should happen. Will it won't? Who knows? Michigan State, Wisconsin tonight. That tilt will be that's a big tilt for Michigan State. Wisconsin at 9 and 11, probably kind of looking outside. But again, the game tonight will be an interesting. Michigan State should be in the mix. Minnesota should be in the mix. Denver's always in the mix. Out east, I'd probably say Maine's in the mix. And then, Doc, as much as I'd love to jump on board our local group up at North Dakota, I'm not so sure right now that they're gonna have to change on the offensive side pretty quick. I think they've got things on the goaltending and defensive end in pretty good shape, but I think the offensive side they're gonna have to generate some scoring, which has been tough for them.
Yeah, and remember, a couple of their big guns have been out, so. And I don't know if they get Cameron Berg back this year or not, but they've had a couple of the frontliner guys. I'd like to see Sasha kind of maybe light it up a little bit more the second half. In speaking of Sasha, I was surprised he didn't get an invite to the Canadian national team, but probably know why. They've always hinged themselves on the CHL players and not so much NCAA. But I think he should definitely be invited next year to the Canadian national team.
I would agree.
So it's going to be fun. I think when we take a look at where college hockey is, the obvious chatter, and with everything that's going on within the context of, we know now that you can transfer within the game down the crossover from Canadian hockey into U.S. college hockey and watching the World Juniors. The question is, on the side you look at now, where do the players that are coming up on the north side take a look at what's going on and say, where's my career going to head? Is the OHL where to go? Is it the CHL? And again, I think there's a lot of things that has a lot of chatter within the hockey community over the ability to transfer and the intertwining, and then we'll bring it into another level. The parity within college hockey we talk about all the time. UNLV club team obviously looking for somewhere. I don't think there's any question if a college hockey team is in Las Vegas, it'll draw every team that goes there to play hockey. Arizona State's experiencing the same thing. And maybe a little side one. Happened to notice this week, there was a mullet that actually started for Arizona State. The money came from the Mullet family. The rink is named Mullet Arena. And the the coach there decided to start Mullet in his game last weekend just to kind of maybe bring some attention to what that family did for Arizona State hockey.
Yeah, that's good.
So we'll be back. Next segment, we've got Dean Stork on from Jamestown University. Got a storied career. May have to take him back in time to some ECHL, AHL, and some Penticton V. So somewhere in the world, anybody wants to call in and talk about any of those places, 701-293-9000. Our intermission sponsor, Citywide Electric. Any installation, home business, Citywide Electric, nd.com. We'll be back on the Hockey Guys. back here. And again, weekly sponsors, Fargo Forest, Bag and Stringen, Dakota Refrigeration, Welton's Tire Service, Carpet World, Alstonson Askew Wealth Management, and the Red Pepper. Thank you for being here with the Hockey Guys. Presenting sponsor, Valley Imports. For your next vehicle at valleyimports.com. We're excited to have our next guest on, Dean Stork, and coaches at the University of Jamestown, ACHA Division I program that I believe he had some responsibility for getting that to happen. And from his bio, second opportunity to get back to Jamestown. And we're excited to have you. Coach, welcome to the Hockey Guys. Coach Dean Stork.
Fellas, appreciate you having me here. Super, super pumped. Thank you.
Hey, we're glad to have this is Wilson here. We're glad to have you, and I'm pumped to have you because you're a fellow Canadian, and these guys are always bad. They're working me over with this dang World Junior stuff. So
took my coaching card away, used his green card to trump one of us that was interested in getting into coaching. But other than that, Wilson, I hold no grudges.
Are you like me, a little nervous that Trump's in power now? We might have to go home, eh?
Good luck going home to your infamous Trudeau.
Okay, let's stay focused on hockey.
Do you guys want to come out of the closet now, or what's going on here?
No, let's stay focused on hockey here.
So, Coach, give us a little update on Jamestown hockey and what's going on and the exciting times you're having there.
Yeah, no, just to give you a little bit of a background here. The University of Jamestown's hockey program has started in 2015. I spent a year recruiting. We're ACHA Division I, the American Collegiate Hockey Association. We try and take that plug away that we're club hockey. You guys, if you've ever watched any games, okay, it's become really good hockey. Back when I started in 15 to where it's at right now in 25. I mean, with the recruiting and the players, there's an abundance of players now. So there's been a lot of good moves, good steps, and hockey's becoming pretty big here in Jamestown. We've been pretty fortunate. We've had a pretty solid program. Now, if we haven't missed a bit or knock on something, if something would, we haven't missed the national tournament. We've been there 7 straight appearances. We're back-to-back conference champions in the MCH. We're currently number 2 behind Minot State. We're currently ranked number 5 in the whole entire nation out of 72 teams. And we continue to play more NCAA D3 and D1 teams because I think they're seeing the improvements of the players that are around, and our programs are becoming very strong. So we're pretty fortunate here. The University of Jamestown's a small private Christian school, liberal arts university. You get your BA, BS, ME. Our nickname is the Harvard on the Prairies. It's a tough little school.
I like that.
These kiddos that we recruit, you can either hack it or you're only going to last a semester because the professors are fabulous. Our president, Paulie Peterson, down to our AD, Austin Heeb. I mean, they've done a fantastic job. Mostly all athletes, a ton of athletes. I think we're 90% student athletes out of a population of 1,300 kids. So huge, huge sporting school, and very successful in our sports, our athletics.
So Coach,
I'm extremely fortunate to be back here at the University of Jamestown.
Coach, I'm just excited. I said no to 2 Harvards. I said no to the Harvard of the Prairie in football, and I said no to the Harvard in hockey. So I just got a compliment I've never had before. I'm going to pass that on to my son, Bryant, that said, hey, Dad, you could have went to Harvard. I said I wasn't that smart, but I was pretty talented.
Yeah.
Well,
it's a tough school.
So you're from Penticton, and a few of us know that name. And you played
I
some.
was born,
you played some ECHL.
Born in Edmonton. Yeah, born in Edmonton, Alberta. Huge Oilers fan. Let's go Oilers. But Mom and Dad moved out to the Okanagan, beautiful Okanagan, Kelowna, Penticton, Vernon, Kamloops. Great area to grow up in. I spent most of my childhood there from 5 to 18 years old, and then I went to UMass Amherst, played Hockey East for 3 seasons. I played for the Penticton Panthers. They're now called the Penticton Vs. They started off with the Penticton Knights, then they went to the Penticton Panthers, and then they went back to the old school Penticton Vs now. So pretty lucky to be growing up in Penticton. Huge hockey town.
Yeah, I agree. I smiled at you when you said were you familiar, and I laughed because, well, I'm 65 years old, but, the guys like, I believe Kevin Maxwell when I was at UND, and then I think Birdman Kerry Eads, too, is from that neck of the woods. And, just a great, enriched with hockey out there, even though I'm a proud Ontario boy, and, and at that time I played for the Thunder Bay Hurricanes, but
Coach, I'm looking at your roster, and I'm sitting here saying KIJHL, NA3HL. You have the SIJHL. You've got the USCHL Premier League. You've got the MGHL. You've got an amazingly diverse roster that has what I would call the melting pot. You look very similar to a program that's in a little bit of flux, but AIC. So you're almost, just to kind of explain how you go about getting kids to Jamestown.
No, we don't have the bylaws to follow with NCAA. We can recruit anytime, anywhere. We have no dates. So, I'm a Western Canadian boy. That's kind of my background where I grew up. So my landscape is out west. Don't get me wrong with the Ontario boys. I've had a few. We've had kids from Florida, from New Jersey, from Massachusetts, but my familiarity as a coach, we hit Manitoba, the MJHL, the SJHL, the AJHL. The KI is a feeder to the BCHL. It's a junior B feeder, so there's some real good talent in the KI as well. We got kids from all over, really. I'd like to get more homegrown North Dakota boys, a few more Minnesota boys, and it's coming along nicely. They're starting to see how good the hockey is in ACHA and here in Jamestown. So I've kind of stepped into the Minnesota, North Dakota, Wisconsin, Illinois a little bit more over the years. But there are so many good hockey players out there, and really you have to recruit the kid that fits you, fits your culture, fits your program, fits your school type. We're a smaller campus. We don't have the lights like Las Vegas or Arizona or Adrian or Liberty. We're a small private school with 1,300 students. So, kids that are growing up in downtown Toronto, downtown Edmonton, downtown, I'm probably not getting those kids. I'm getting more of the agricultural farmer kid type kids, grew up in small cities. But I recruit everywhere.
Well, I've been impressed. That's why I was telling our staff, the hockey guys, I go, we got to get Dean on here, man. I think it's still a kept secret. Minot's popping out a little bit. I go, they got a great conference. They're playing great teams, and you don't have to go far. I mean, you got a lot of UND people that love UND, obviously. But, Jamestown, there's a lot of hockey people there. I'm sure you met the Shackinator. The Shack, he's like the mafia of Jamestown. He'll tell you what to do. But, no, it's just a great program. You're playing good teams. And you're strong. I looked at your roster. I smiled a little bit. I go, you got a good connection north of the border, but we wanted to get you on. We got to get you on again because just to promote your program and get people aware of it. And like I said, we're, the metro area in Fargo, we're popping out some strong, good hockey players that you don't have to go way away to play. You can stay at home. I had parents go, we love it if we play at Jamestown. We can go to all those home games, I mean, we can be there and it's close. So, what teams do you play in your league? Throw some out at me.
We're in the MCH conference, which is the Midwest Conference Hockey. We play our big rival, Minot State, Marion Bismarck, Iowa State, big school. Other teams, we have 20 conference games that we can play. This is another beauty about ACHA hockey is we don't have 29 games. We can only play 29 games NCAA D3. We can only play 37 games NCAA D1. We can play unlimited. We could play 40, 45 game, which is kind of like a junior schedule, which kids want to play hockey, right? So we can play up to 25 independent games. So we'll fly out and play UNLV Vegas. We'll play Adrian in Michigan. We'll go to Liberty. We'll play San Diego State's got a team now. Arizona's got a team. The University of Arizona has a team. Oregon, University of Oregon. I mean, there's some real big schools. There's 72 schools that compete in ACHA D1. Only 24 go to the national tournament in St. Louis, Missouri. But there's a lot of schools, and it's becoming big time.
Well, thank
College
you.
hockey is growing, Coach Stork. Thank you. And we're
thanks for
kind of
sharing.
watching, and we see that UNLV over Denver, and people say, "What is that?" I said, the game of hockey, San Diego, destination place. UNLV, destination place. Arizona, destination place. Oregon, not so much unless you're a golfer, then Oregon's a destination place. But when you take a look at the potential for growth in college hockey, we sit here and we watch. It's going to go west. College hockey is going west, and then it's going to go a little bit southeast, but mostly west. And you're playing all the teams that have a shot, I think, when they decide to look at college hockey and balance leagues. I think college hockey is on a really good plane. Coach, thank you for being on. We'll have you on again.
Yeah, thank
Appreciate
you.
your enthusiasm for wanting to be on the Hockey Guys. Good luck to your team. Get yourself in that final group of 24, and when that happens, anything can happen. So good luck to you there at Jamestown University.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Coach.
I appreciate you a lot.
We'll have to get you back on.
And we'll be back here on the Hockey Guys. We have intermission sponsored by Gateway Chevrolet, where you can save big money on a Chevy Silverado, Equinox, or Blazer. Go online at fargochevrolet.com. We'll be back here on the Hockey Guys, wrap things up for this refreshing Saturday morning. I didn't even look at the thermometer. All I saw was sunshine and blue sky, Wilson.
I saw -6. I always see everything half empty.
And that was without the wind blowing at us. But, again, come on back, and we'll wrap it up in the final segment here on the Hockey Guys. Welcome back, Valley Imports. Thank you, our presenting sponsor here on the Hockey Guys. And Doc, thank you. I know you were hanging in there, and I didn't see your hand go up. I didn't see any little green buttons come on. So I'm thinking, holy smokes, if we let you ask him a question, we'll be going into next week.
No, I think
exactly.
I think Dean's. Yeah, I think he had a lot to share, and I like that because I think it's still a kept secret if people don't understand. I keep talking about Jamestown, Minot, how they're popping out and they're making some strong teams, good hockey players. I mean, I don't know why, not to bash Manitoba, but playing against Bemidji 5-0, nothing against Bemidji, but would Jamestown had a tighter game on that? I don't know.
And North Dakota's been playing Manitoba for years, as we know, and maybe it's a chance to spread out. I mean, we took a look. I'll use a reference, but you had the basketball game where you've got the guy that's playing down big-time basketball, and they came back, and pretty exciting to watch local kids get a chance to play against a local college. So I got to believe that somewhere in here, after what UNLV did, people will be scared though, Wills, right? Like, how do you schedule an outsider? And because that all matters now.
Yeah, well, you got a win-win. But what were your thoughts, Phil?
Well, and I'm just going to take a little different tack here. I mean, I think that college hockey, you're right, Eddie. It is expanding. It is getting better. There's a new Division I team coming in. I heard yesterday from Tennessee, and I can't remember which conference they're going to join. But you know what? Let's go back and look at 1980. A lot of people bashed Herb Brooks and really didn't understand what he was trying to do, but he got it right. And he has been proven right now over the last 30 years, 40 years. Look at if you want to see some of the best hockey players in the world, I would encourage you to watch the World Junior Championships today, because you're going to see a lot of kids that play at universities throughout North America, primarily the United States, and no better example of that with the U.S. team, which is just laden with all of the elite players from the NCAA. And those kids are playing for world championships. I mean, the level that the NCAA is at right now is on par with nobody else. I mean, they are the elite group, I feel, in the world today. And you're seeing Swedish kids, you're seeing Finnish kids, even the Czech goalie going to NCAA programs. And the scouts will tell you that they love that because they get the development, they get the training, they get the nutrition. They're not on a bus for 10 hours, a couple of times during the week. I think that the marquee area is going to be the NCAA here for the next while, and kudos to the ACHA. I mean, they may boost up, and I don't know if I would, because with the NCAA and all their restrictions, maybe it's better to stay at the ACHA and do their own thing. But I think that you're seeing that the expansion of hockey is on.
It's I've watched many tryout sessions. I remember watching the Fargo Forest, and I'm going, how do you pick those 20 or 25 guys? You know what I mean? And I brag about Canada a lot, and I'm proud of that. But I like Gretzky picked the team when they won the gold medal in BC, and he left guys home. I remember a goalie he didn't take because he wasn't a good team player, and he was one of the top goalies in the National Hockey League, So I have that gift like Herb Brooks did. What is good chemistry? As a former administrator, hiring people, and we're arguing about certain people, what's the best fit? What's going to be best for our students, our staff, whatever? How does that person fit in? And we've seen pro athletes that, you know what I mean? I'll pick on Cousins, with the Vikings, and I think Stacey talked about it, about who, it was about him, maybe not about the Vikings. It was about how I get my wallet bigger. And if you're doing it for the right reasons, you're going to have more success. But what is that perfect team chemistry?
Well, you know what? In dealing with all those World Junior teams and all the great coaches that they had, it always came down to, who's the best fit for this team. And when you're trying to put a team together, I mean, I've seen all these accumulations of elite players that can't get along with anybody, and it's just the me syndrome. They want the puck all the time and can't play the systems. But I'll guarantee you, all the teams that I've been on that won gold medals, they were teams that they played for each other. They didn't have a lot of, personal things that they were looking for, the personal goals. They were playing for each other. They were playing for the guy next to them, and you could see that and you could sense that as it went along. They got along with each other. They went out together as a group. They didn't just splinter off and have 2 or 3 guys go this way and the other way, like go to movies and things. They stuck together and hung together. And kudos to the coaches that can figure that out, because obviously that is a key for success. And you're right, Dean, it's hard. I mean, and I think that's why they have more of these evaluation camps now. They're trying to get more looks at these kids and see how they interact with the other guys. And I see more coaches down in the locker room talking with the guys, kind of getting the flavor of what's going on here to see if they've got a good fit and a good chemistry.
Yeah, I'll give you a quick thought. I coached Team North Dakota several times, and I gave them a little bio sheet to fill out. If they put on there they hated their high school coach, I cut them.
Yeah.
And you're going to think that's crazy. If they talked about their high school coach, they loved him to death, blah, blah, blah. I like that. I don't like excuses, right? But I'm serious. If they're bashing their high school coach, I go, if they're bashing their high school coach, they're going to be bashing me, and I got rid of them. I don't want something negative. And that was one of my criteria. I'm going, does this guy got an attitude or something we don't need? So that was one of my, it sounds crazy, but it was something I leaned on it a little bit,
Well, and I think the other coaches are helpful too. I mean, that's why you want to chat with them and go, "Hey, what's this guy like off the ice? What's this guy like in the room?" And I think that there's a lot of things that go into trying to figure out, who some of the best players are. And let's face it, some of the best players are not the most skilled players, as far as that goes. And they're more the grinders. They're more the ones that work hard. They're more the ones that work for everybody else. So, trying to figure out who all those kids are, that's a tough job.
Phil Kessel, they kept bumping him around because they said when he was in Vegas, he said he gave the best pre-speech ever, and they went out and won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Some guys just have that gift.
When you have a guy that the coach can pick on that the other players like, you have a good system. In other words, Phil Kessel, I think every coach he ever played for talked about he was too squatty, too small, too this, too that, and the players are like, "Hey, coach,
he's the best teammate.
He's going to be on our team." So
he's the best teammate.
You may have paid attention. Phil Kessel removed some coaches because the players said, "Hey, no, Kessel's going to be on our team. So if you don't like him as a coach, you should find another place to coach." But
and my best story is when he's got the hot dogs in the Stanley Cup going, "How do you like me now, Toronto?"
So here's some fun things that'll happen. So we all know that college hockey is back in full force. Tonight, again, like I shared, there's some big games. I like that Michigan State-Wisconsin game. I'm kind of also looking at that Cornell-Arizona State game. When you look at the World Juniors for Canada, the Four Nations tournament's going to be coming up. And now look where Canada's focus is going to be. Like, do you know what the chaos they may have created? They may have a roster change there, Wills, before they go into the Four Nations tournament now to make sure the same parties involved get to have their say. But we've had a good ride here today on the Hockey Guys. It's been a fun show. And, again, Doc, as always, you're going to weather in, do a sit-in out there in the weather in Montana. Thanks for calling in. We appreciate Coach Stork being on from Jamestown University. And we'll be back next Saturday here on the Hockey Guys. So, again, come back, join us. Appreciate Valley Imports.